Welcome to AI and Automation in Action, where we show business leaders how to turn AI from a buzzword into measurable operational leverage. If you're serious about operational efficiency and responsible AI adoption, you're in the right place.
Hey, Hunter, excited to be joining you again for our next edition of AI and Automation in Action, where we dive into real world use cases of automation and what you're developing for clients. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the automations you built for one of our internal team members, what we call our Business Innovation Advisor. And this role is really a consultant for our clients to help them understand where they are with their technology items, any type of budget requirement, strategy. And a lot of times that involves a lot of legwork pulling that information together. So why don't you give us an overview of what the situation was and the need was, and then we'll go into how we solved that problem.
Thanks for having me again, Shane, and absolutely. So the Business Innovation Advisor role, each quarter, or based upon the contract with the client, that team member is sitting down with those stakeholders or that point of contact and visiting with them on their technology that's in place, where they need to be budgeting and forecasting moving forward for the next 2 to 3, maybe even 5 years, depending on their compliance needs. But ultimately, you are correct. It does take a lot of time to pull those reports and sign into multiple different tools to pull all of that data. Additionally, when they're pulling those reports, they're having to sift through a lot of the data and delete items that may no longer be relevant, or specific statuses, or just teams where the tickets may no longer be relevant. But ultimately, I was able to create a automation that is following an automation we had before, but we have rebuilt and standardized this automation to where it allows for all models. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, and I think this is going to help. So we had a old automation that was pulling warranty details. It was a custom automation, but it was going out to the vendors and getting that warranty information. On occasion, it would fail due to that vendor performing maintenance or numerous amounts of issues, maybe the serial number. But again, that was the issue that we were seeing with that automation. And so what we did was we rebuilt that, leveraging a tool that we have in place called Ninja. And that's how we access the end user's computers. So it already had that information natively in the platform. So we rebuilt the automation to use Ninja instead of going out and looking up the warranty on all the vendor sites. So that was the base foundation of this new automation, was getting that fixed. Once we got that fixed, we were able to layer on top of that automation, and we were able to integrate with our ticketing platform. And so from there, we were able to pull a report for each team. So our support team, our technical alignment team that's going through and doing assessments on environments, also escalated tickets, so any tickets that may be sitting with that team. And then in addition to our Business Innovation Advisor tickets, it was also pulling the centralized service tickets or technical assurance. So any backup failures, anything like that, antivirus, all of those were also being included in the report. And the final outcome is all that's required to kick off this automation by our Business Innovation Advisor is they kick off a form and they select a customer, and then they enter their ticket number. Once they submit that form, it runs the automation and it pulls all of the warranty details. It creates a unique spreadsheet and posts that as an attachment to the ticket. And then separately, it creates 4 or 5 different reports for each team and their tickets. So for the support and maintenance tickets, it will have a CSV with all of those, and it will also attach that separately to that ticket. So they're getting an overview of all of the tickets along with the warranty details. And the next step that I'm actively working through is pulling in quotes. Since that is a separate item from tickets, we'll be pulling in quotes, projects, and then continuing to layer on top of that with additional tool automation. So we'll be pulling in expirations, and then we're already getting backup tickets, but we're going to be pulling in and integrating our backup tool. So then that way we can get real time and live alerting from that tool instead of just relying on tickets being created. There's a few other things we'll be working to add too, but I'll leave it at that for now.
That's incredible because, I've sat in that role. It's been years since I've been in there hands on, but I know how much time it can take to go to different platforms, log in, have to go select the date, time frame that we're looking for, run the reports, gather that data back, put it back into a spreadsheet, and compile and get ready. Because when you go meet with clients, you're wanting to present a comprehensive view of what's going on from the technology perspective. And in the managed services space, it's not unusual for MSPs to be using 40, 50 different tools to provide all of the services. And so you can imagine having to log into each one of those, run those reports independently. It's a huge task. And so I can understand why this was a big automation that we were looking for. I know in talking with Scott, our business innovation advisor that was kind of heading this charge, he said that he was spending hours doing this. And now he's just down to a few minutes of going and clicking through the form. And then, as you said, it's something that you'll continue to build upon, right? So it's something that now we've got the building block. We just layer more blocks on top of.
Absolutely. And to your point, I think we have the time savings a little low in our automation platform. I think we have it set for 30 minutes, but to your point, yes, it is saving just on the warranty where it's pulling the device expirations. That was noted by Scott to save an hour to two alone for each meeting that he's having. So
right.
Can't wait to see what this looks like in the tail end whenever we have all of these other workflows tied in with this automation. At the very end, the goal will be, since we'll have all of that data, we'll be able to help forecast and create a 2-year budget for those clients as well. And that's going to be the final solution or final output that we're looking for, with all of that in the ticket, and then a nice table that will be able to be taken for that meeting along with all the data.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when it comes to the integrations that went into this, was it primarily APIs that we were integrating at this point? Were there direct native integrations, or did you build everything pretty much from scratch to the API?
Yep. So at this time, right now, we were able to just leverage APIs. Some of the workflows that we've already actually created, we were able to just quickly copy and clone those. Now, when we get into some of the backup solution and some of the ones that we haven't interacted with yet or don't have a native integration with our automation platform, then yes, we are going to have to create some custom HTTP calls or some custom integrations. So then that way we'll be able to continue to interact with them reliably.
And that's the key thing, is that, obviously if things are native, it's got some pre-built, pre-tested ways to interact. But with the platforms that we're able to use today, it's pretty much limitless as long as there's an API. And then we can probably, to extend this even further, I'm just kind of brainstorming here. You could probably even tie in like a Figma app that could go out and create dynamic visual reports and presentations off of this if we wanted to extend to that point.
Absolutely. As long as it supports that API access and there's no limitations with Figma, for example, with creating those reports or creating those dashboards through an API, that is something that we can certainly do and something we can certainly help out with.
What I always love about talking with you, Hunter, is that it's an opportunity to kind of be thinking, what can we build? What can we brainstorm? What can we create? That's one of the most exciting parts of what we're doing at Innovative Automations, is it's the creativity and looking at not just what can we create, but what can we create that drives a time saving and an efficiency output.
Absolutely. And the biggest things that help me are those AI tools. So if it's something that maybe you're unsure if your tool does support API access, a quick way that you can maybe get an answer more than 50% of the time, use an AI tool. Of course, make sure it is restricted or a private instance if you're putting any data in. But if you're just asking, does this tool support API access? there's no harm with throwing that into OpenAI or Grok or Gemini, whatever tool you're using, and trying to get an answer. The reason why sometimes you won't is that documentation is paywalled behind the vendor. So sometimes you may have to reach out to your account manager to get that direct confirmation. Definitely leverage your AI tools. And if you're unsure or have security questions, reach out to us over at Innovative Automations. We'll be happy to help.
I appreciate the conversation. Again, I always look forward to hearing what you're building and the cool stuff that you're creating for our clients. So thanks again, Hunter.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shane.
Thanks for tuning in to AI and Automation in Action. If today's conversation sparked ideas about how AI or automation could improve your operations, we'd love to continue that discussion with you. Join us next time as we showcase another real-world implementation and break down how to deploy AI responsibly and effectively. And if you want to brainstorm with our team, email us anytime at ideas@innovativeautomations.ai. Until next time.